At this moment, manifested in front of him, Wong Lin stood atop the creature's back, his face pale as he sat cross-legged, enduring the intense pain from his injuries. His eyes were wide open, fixed on the five-element star. Upon seeing no change on the five-element star, Wong Lin realized that his opponent was unwilling to take a gamble. In fact, even if his opponent did take the risk, Wong Lin had a way to escape. He still had the Li Guang Bao. Although he wasn't willing to use it just yet, if the situation became dire, he would not hesitate to take it out. This journey to the five elements star had injured Wong Lin, but it also yielded great gains. Raising his right hand, he tapped several points on his body to suppress the excruciating pain. As the netherworld beast slowly retreated, gradually moving away from the starry sky of the five-element star and into the Kung-Su star domain. That old man with the surname Ma has incredibly strong cultivation, even stronger than Palm Sovereign. This person, even if he hasn't truly reached the void cataclysm, has certainly survived several profound tribulations. And in the first floor of that tower, there was no one, only a suit of armor. This Gi sect cultivator's abilities are quite bizarre, relying on the power of the armor. That armor on the first floor likely belongs to the old man with the surname Ma. If it truly belongs to him, what level of cultivation will he reach once he wears it? Wong Lin thought deeply. After Wong Lin left, on the five-element star, the old man with the surname Ma had a grim expression, his eyes fixed on the sky. He hesitated internally, torn between taking action and giving up. He wasn't sure whether Wong Lin still had other trump cards, but just the fact that Wong Lin dared to come here, knowing full well the dangers, and still forcefully demanded the blood sword, was enough to show that Wong Lin had come prepared. As he pondered, the old man's eyes flashed coldly. He stood still, surrounded by silence. The elder in the dual path armor stood respectfully beside him, not daring to make a sound. The three people from the 5th to 7th floors also stood respectfully, filled with fear for the old man with the surname Ma. As for the Gi sect's sedan bearer, Yun Yifeng, he stood beside the old man with the surname Ma, gazing silently at the sky. What do you think? After a long pause, the old man with the surname Ma suddenly spoke. His words were not directed at anyone in particular, but everyone in the area turned to look, with only Yun Yifeng pondering deeply, slowly speaking up. Xun'er does not believe that the path of heaven can devour us. The path of heaven. After my uncle found some clues, I pursued them. Over the years, though I haven't discovered anything substantial, I have made some speculations. The path of heaven has already split. Although this child controls it now, it is definitely not complete. A fragmented path of heaven may be able to devour all beings and things, but for those of high cultivation, it cannot consume them. He must have learned that we are not cultivators of the abode realm. This is the key moment for him to search for the third soul. He must be cautious of our strength, so he has come here to force us out from the shadows. Only after knowing everything about us can he make his plans. Of course, these are just my guesses, but if they are true, then this person is indeed remarkable. Yun Yifeng spoke slowly, his eyes filled with thought. It should be so. This person, aside from the path of heaven, has other contingencies, which is why he dared to come so confidently. The old man with the surname Ma's gaze flashed, and he withdrew his eyes from the sky. Sweeping over the others, his expression darkened as he swirled his large sleeve, about to turn and head back to the tower. But just then, a calm voice suddenly reverberated through the space of the five-element star. Just now, you spoke of the Dao ancient lineage as barbaric savages? The moment this voice rang out, the old man with the surname Ma's face changed drastically. His pupils shrank, cold sweat instantly beading on his forehead. The voice was calm, but it carried a tremor that shook their very souls. It wasn't just the old man with the surname Ma. Even Yun Yifeng's expression changed dramatically, his body frozen in place, not daring to move. The three men surrounding them trembled as well, their eyes instantly filled with fear. As for the elder in the dual path armor, his face turned ashen, disbelief showing in his eyes. The voice reverberated in everyone's minds, turning into a wave of terror that erupted violently within them. This fear was powerful enough to destroy all their life force. The three middle-aged men spewed blood and staggered, falling backward as if an invisible force had brushed them aside. The world seemed to change color, the winds and clouds swirling violently. As ripples spread in all directions, a blurry figure began to appear in the heavens, slowly walking toward the earth. The figure was not tall, but its presence caused the earth to tremble. The five elements star seemed on the brink of collapse, and all living beings were engulfed in an irredeemable fear. It felt as though this figure contained the power to bring forth life and death, to shatter the heavens. With its appearance, the entire five elements star fell into complete silence. Even the sun in the sky vanished in an instant. Just now, was it you who said that in front of the Unity sect, the Dao ancient lineage are nothing but wild cultivators? A cold voice emerged once again from the blurry figure. As the figure took a step forward, in an instant when no one could even muster the slightest resistance, it arrived beside the elder clad in dual path armor. The figure's right hand casually raised, effortlessly seizing the elder's neck with a firm grip. Everything happened too quickly, coupled with the overwhelming aura of pressure. The armored elder didn't even have the slightest chance to evade or resist. As the figure tightened its grip around his neck, the elder immediately struggled in agony. The blurry figure casually flicked its right hand, and with a rumbling sound, the elder's formidable dual path armor from the Unity sect collapsed into fragments, as fragile as paper. The wind blew, and the fragments immediately dispersed. Was it you who said that? The blurry figure grabbed the now unarmored elder and pulled him close, staring coldly at him. At this moment, the elder from the Ma family trembled, his legs shaking, and his eyes filled with unprecedented fear. Not only him, but Yunifeng also felt the same. Grand heavenly venerable. The Ma elder's body quivered, his lips trembling. Only one person could destroy his Unity sect's armor so effortlessly and question him with such domineering authority regarding disrespect towards the Dao ancient lineage. Grand heavenly venerable Xuan Luo. The Ma elder spat out a mouthful of blood, staggering back a few steps. His fear was overwhelming. His teeth chattered as he looked at the blurry figure, now able to clearly discern that the blurriness wasn't caused by any spell or technique, but by a pressure unique to Nine Suns. In the immortal firmament continent, the legendary Nine Suns, unless they were from the same clan or lineage, it was rare for outsiders to know their appearance. The massive differences in cultivation levels, combined with the peculiar aura of the Grand Heavenly Venerable, could blur the figure of Nine Suns. If they did not wish to be seen clearly, even other members of Nine Suns would struggle to make out each other's true appearance, let alone these insignificant ants in Xuan Luo's eyes. As soon as the words left Xuan Luo's mouth, he gently squeezed his right hand, and with a booming sound, the elder's body suddenly collapsed, turning into blood and flesh that dissipated in Xuan Luo's grasp. Such casualness in killing someone. Xuan Luo flicked his right hand, seemingly shaking off the death aura, then turned and scanned the remaining people. As his gaze passed over them, all those still conscious shuddered. Except for the Ma elder and Yunifeng, everyone else had their legs give way, and they all dropped to their knees, trembling. The Ma elder clenched his teeth, forcing himself to stay standing, but the trembling of his legs had already reached his limit. Yunifeng's face turned pale, beads of sweat the size of beans continuously appeared, soaking his clothes. As Xuan Luo's gaze swept across him, Yunifeng's mind exploded with an overwhelming pressure, as if the entire sky was pressing down on him. He could not help but kneel, but his pride wouldn't allow him to bow. At this moment, his body trembled, and he could hear a thumping sound within himself, as if his flesh, blood, and bones were all being compressed. You little brat are quite resilient. Grand heavenly venerable Xuan Luo stood with his hands behind his back, in the sky, and after scanning everyone, his gaze landed on Yunifeng. To still stand under my pressure is quite rare. It's a pity, though. You're not from my Dao ancient lineage. What a pity. Xuan Luo sighed lightly. As his gaze left Yunifeng, Yunifeng spat out a mouthful of blood, unable to endure any longer. With a thud, he collapsed to his knees. The Ma elder endured for a few more moments, his face pale as he smiled bitterly, abandoning all resistance. He knew that if he continued, he would undoubtedly die. His expression dimmed as he knelt there, motionless. Please, Grand Heavenly Venerable, out of respect for the Grand Elder of the Unity Sect, allow us to leave. We will immediately depart from this cave mansion realm and promise never to set foot here again. Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo raised his right hand and suddenly grasped the air toward the first floor of the high tower. With a resounding crash, the first floor collapsed, revealing its full interior. The pitch-black armor, amidst the crumbling stones, flickered with eerie light, exuding a strange glow. This armor, I will take. Whenever your Unity sect thinks it has the qualifications to retrieve it, come and personally seek me for it. Xuan Luo spoke calmly as the armor seemed to be seized by a force of the 5 elements and flew toward him, disappearing before him. Xuan Luo coldly snorted, turned, and took a step toward the sky, gradually fading into nothing. It's not yet your time to leave. Do what you must. Xuan Luo's voice, as he left, reverberated across the 5-element star, entering everyone's minds. It wasn't until a long time after Xuan Luo had left that the Ma Elder, with a complex expression, stood up. The others gradually got up as well. Yuan Yifeng gritted his teeth, gazing up at the sky where Xuan Luo had vanished, his expression dark as night. One day, I too will become the Grand Heavenly Venerable, the 10th Son. Yuan Yifeng clenched his fist. The surroundings fell silent. After a long while, the old man surnamed Ma let out a deep sigh. He glanced around, his expression incredibly dim. Forget it. The plan we've been strategizing here for so long is no longer possible to succeed. Even if we were confident of victory, with him here, we can't complete it. The old man, surnamed Ma, spoke slowly. That Wong Lin has been traveling with him, but since they haven't appeared together, and judging from Wong Lin's expression earlier, it seems he doesn't even know about the existence of Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo. In that case, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo's refusal to let us leave is already clear. Yuan Yifeng said in a low voice. He had become a core disciple of the Unity sect, and even a chosen one, and even Xuan Luo highly praised him. His intelligence was naturally sharp, almost on par with Wong Lin. With just a simple clue, he deduced nearly everything. Xun'er is right. It must be like this. Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo is clearly testing Wong Lin. He came from the immortal firmament continent for Wong Lin. The old man, surnamed Ma's eyes flickered. Considering that Yi Mo died in this cave mansion realm, and the 3,000 bloodlines turned into the 3 ancient clans, Wong Lin must have inherited Yi Mo's legacy, which caught Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo's attention. Yuan Yifeng's eyes glimmered with thought as he spoke softly. Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo doesn't want us to leave because he wants us to be the sharpening stones for Wong Lin. Before he left, he told us to do what we must. If we don't understand the meaning behind it and don't act accordingly, then we may never leave this place. We'll all die here. Yuan Yifeng rubbed his brow and said in a solemn tone. In the starry sky, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo walked calmly. As he advanced, he looked back towards the distant direction of the 5-element star, a trace of appreciation flashing in his eyes. This child is extremely intelligent, but unfortunately, he is from the Immortal clan. I wonder, between him and Wong Lin, who is more outstanding. Perhaps it's this one. Xuan Luo shook his head and continued walking. Meanwhile, Wong Lin sat cross-legged on the back of the netherworld beast, his eyes closed as he quickly healed his injuries. The injuries he sustained from the 5-element star were severe, but despite this, everything seemed balanced. After an unknown amount of time, Wong Lin suddenly opened his eyes, a cold glint flashing through them. He slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air. The Unity sect people from the 5-element star are a strong force trying to seize the third soul. Now, I've forced them all out from the shadows. It's time for me to participate in the search for the third soul. Third soul, who exactly are you? Wong Lin thought in silence, raising his right hand to pat the back of the netherworld beast. The beast's speed immediately quickened, and with a rush forward, Wong Lin disappeared into the starry sky. When he reappeared, he was already outside the Milky Way formation in the new immortal realm. Wong Lin stood up, took back the netherworld beast, and stood there silently for a long time. In the starry sky, his figure was illuminated by the light outside the galaxy, but there was an overwhelming sense of loneliness and desolation. It felt ancient, his soul grieving. Today is a special day. Wong Lin sighed lightly, stepping forward. His figure transformed into a long rainbow, charging straight into the Milky Way, and in an instant, he entered the immortal realm. Just as Wong Lin entered the immortal realm, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo slowly emerged from the starry sky. He looked around, then with a flick of his sleeve, followed Wong Lin into the immortal realm. His figure blurred, formless, and even if one stood right before him, they wouldn't sense his presence. But as he stepped in, Wong Lin, who had been walking ahead, suddenly halted, turned sharply, his eyes flashing with cold light. His gaze like lightning locked onto Xuan Luo. Caught by Wong Lin's gaze, Xuan Luo froze for a moment. "You've been following me all this way. Now that we've arrived here, won't you show yourself?" Wong Lin's voice was cold, carrying a murderous intent. Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo's eyes gleamed with a strange light as he studied Wong Lin for a long time. He didn't speak, nor did he reveal himself. "Do you really want me to force you out?" Wong Lin sneered, raising his right hand and suddenly waving it forward. A fierce wind, formed from the fusion of 7 origins, howled as it swept across the area. Amidst the booming storm, Wong Lin's gaze flickered as he carefully observed the void in front of him. After confirming there were no clues, he abruptly turned and stepped into the immortal realm. In truth, he hadn't noticed Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo's presence. Wong Lin's cautious nature made him aware that, having just left the 5-element star, he was wary of the old man surnamed Ma following him. So, at this moment, he turned and spoke, hoping to trick any possible follower. After Wong Lin's figure disappeared, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo silently smiled, his eyes filled with admiration. This little fellow is cautious. His eyes just now contained a certain divine ability, which makes anyone who looks into them feel as if they are being watched. Though this method is simple and not particularly brilliant, it is actually quite practical. Xuan Luo gave a slight smile. He had just been stunned by Wong Lin's words and actions. In the 5 elements formation, I saw his domineering spirit. In the 9-turn heart wheel, I saw his enlightenment. Outside the 5 elements tower, I saw his decisiveness and calculation. Now, here, I see his caution. This Wong Lin is truly impressive. However, the person I choose must place great importance on loyalty and righteousness. I wonder if this child possesses that. Xuan Luo murmured to himself as he walked forward, passing through the Milky Way barrier and arriving in this beautiful immortal realm. The sky of the immortal realm was a deep blue, with wisps of smoky threads drifting, as if surrounded by celestial energy. White clouds interlaced, making the view truly pleasing to the eye. The ground below was a lush green, with distant mountains rising and rivers flowing gently. A fragrant earthy scent mingled with the air, entering the heart with every breath. Wong Lin stepped forward, returning to the immortal realm. Apart from the Blue Dream Dao Sovereign, no one noticed his return. He swayed slightly and appeared on the peak where he had previously been in seclusion. Staring at the sky, Wong Lin's expression gradually darkened. His eyes filled with nostalgia and sorrow. Every year on this day, he tried to forget something, often keeping himself busy so he wouldn't think of it. Another year, and it's this day again. Wong Lin lowered his head bitterly, sitting cross-legged to the side. At this moment, on the peak, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo stood calmly, silently watching Wong Lin. After sitting down, Wong Lin took a deep breath. His right hand rose and grabbed at the void, and immediately the ghost face banner appeared, completely enveloping him. It seemed he didn't want anyone to see him on this day. He just wanted to spend it alone, in silence. The sky of the immortal realm was clear and bright, with sunlight inexplicably shining from somewhere above, falling from the sky and warming the earth. The light was gentle and soothing. The peak where Wong Lin sat was surrounded by silence. Within the ghost face banner, he raised his head to gaze at the sky, for a long time. "Xun'er, soon, I will head to the immortal firmament continent. There, I will surely find a way to awaken you. Believe me, just like the promise I made to you back then, even if the heavens try to take you, I will bring you back." Wong Lin sat there, surrounded by the peaceful silence. Yet a feeling of melancholy and longing stirred within him. Wong Lin had an inkling that his time in this cave mansion realm was drawing to a close. Very soon, he might leave this place and travel to the unfamiliar immortal firmament continent. In his life, he had been to many strange places, and solitude had always accompanied him. It had been this way his entire life. But despite his loneliness, the unseen companionship of Li Muin eased his solitude, making it bearable. Today is a special day. Xun'er, do you still remember? Wong Lin couldn't remember his age or his birth date, but he clearly remembered today, thousands of years ago. This day, he would never forget. Every year, he spent it alone, either forgetting through battles or burying it deep within himself through escape. Sometimes, it was in seclusion, counting the passing years in solitude. But more often, he would drink alone, feeling the burning sensation of the strong liquor in his throat. Yet, he couldn't feel its heat, for in his body and mind, longing, loneliness, and desolation had replaced everything. No matter how strong the alcohol, it could not disperse even a fraction of it. Xun'er, I have accepted Li Muin. I'm sorry. Wong Lin fell silent. Inside the ghost face banner, he took out a jar of wine with his right hand and drank it down. I can't repay that kind of kindness. Xun'er, I don't want to be involved in any emotions in this life, because your departure made me understand the cost of love. I can't bear it. On this day, more than 2,000 years ago, in the demonic sea, a voice calling for help reached Wong Lin's mind, a voice filled with helplessness that made one's heart ache. That voice stopped Wong Lin in his tracks. He turned and saw a figure he didn't know at the time, but one that he would remember for the rest of his life. That figure was his woman. A pang of pain struck Wong Lin's heart as he finished the last of the liquor in the jar. He picked up another one. Not far away, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo silently sat, watching Wong Lin's back. That figure, radiating loneliness and desolation, even moved him. Xun'er, wait for me, just a little longer. I will make it happen soon. Wong Lin drank deeply, letting the liquor spill from the corner of his mouth and drip onto his clothes. He flicked his sleeve, and suddenly, the sky-covering coffin appeared with a faint light, landing before him. Staring at Li Muin, who appeared to be sleeping inside the coffin, Wong Lin's eyes softened, but his heart ached as though a needle had pierced through it. After a long while, Wong Lin gently opened the lid of the coffin of avoiding heaven. His left hand trembled as he slowly extended it into the coffin, eventually touching Li Muin's face. With tenderness, he caressed her face. The pain in Wong Lin's heart turned into a tidal wave of sorrow, mercilessly drowning him. Xun'er, tears streamed down Wong Lin's face. The tears dropped onto Li Muin's body, breaking apart and soaking her clothes. One thread of your soul is gone. Not even in the heavenly tribulation, but no matter where that fragment of soul is, or in whose hands, I, Wong Lin, will retrieve it, no matter who it is. Wong Lin muttered as he picked up a wine jug and took another large gulp. The wine mixed with the tears flowing from his eyes, bitterly swallowed down into his stomach. Throwing the wine jug aside, Wong Lin suddenly raised his right hand, pointing it at his forehead. At the same time, his left hand pressed against Li Muin's forehead. His eyes instantly closed. Ghost face enters the illusion, millennium dream. Wong Lin murmured, and the ghost face on the sail outside his body suddenly twisted. The ghost face seemed to roar silently, manifesting directly from the sail and heading straight toward Wong Lin's forehead, disappearing without a trace. Immediately, dense mist enveloped Wong Lin's body, obscuring everything within. Xuan Luo remained silent, his expression complicated. He vaguely understood something, and with a soft sigh, he raised his right hand and pointed at the mist surrounding Wong Lin. His divine sense split, merging into the mist. Wong Lin, it's not that I wish to disturb you, but to understand everything about you. For you are the only disciple I chose, the most important person to protect my reincarnation and the Dao ancient lineage. Xuan Luo murmured, his eyes closing. The moment his eyes shut, his spirit immediately entered the dream world Wong Lin was in, feeling the sorrow emanating from this world. The sky was dim, and in the distance, raging flames illuminated the heavens. The sounds of fighting and the clash of cultivation spells could be faintly heard. Wong Lin stood in the sky, the confusion in his eyes gradually fading. He turned around and looked toward the direction of the demon sea, waiting slowly. After a long time, 2 streaks of rainbow light surged across the sky. 1 man and 1 woman. The woman ahead was frantic, pale-faced, her body swaying as if it would collapse. Her eyebrows like smoke, her aura radiant as spring blossoms, like a lotus fairy, graceful and ethereal, Li Muan. Behind her, a man with oiled hair and a lecherous look leisurely pursued her. Little girl, your 13 team members have already been killed by me. Where else can you run? As the man spoke, he raised his right hand and swung it forward. With a tearing sound, Li Muan's clothes were ripped open, exposing her skin. As Li Muan gasped in shock, the man placed his hand in front of his face, inhaling deeply, his eyes gleaming with lust. At that moment, Li Muan saw Wong Lin. Her heart, already exhausted and facing humiliation and danger, recognized him instantly and felt a sense of familiarity. It's you. Senior brother, save me, she cried out, immediately changing direction, rushing to Wong Lin's side, her face filled with urgency and pleading. She gritted her teeth, pressing her red lips together, and quickly said, "This man is an elder from the dual cultivation sect of Xuan Luo Kingdom. He somehow learned I have a heavenly separation pill, and that's why She was naturally very clever, and by mentioning the heavenly separation pill, she hoped Wong Lin would act to save her. However, before she could finish her words, she froze for a moment because Wong Lin was looking at her with a gentle smile, his gaze tender as if gazing at a lover from 1,000 years ago. His eyes made Li Muan's heart tremble for some unknown reason. You. Just as Li Muan was about to speak, the young man in the distance sneered. He had also noticed Wong Lin, but he didn't take it seriously. He raised his right hand and pointed forward, and instantly, 8 flying swords materialized around him, spinning like a whirlwind toward Wong Lin. Wong Lin looked at Li Muan, and with a natural movement, he pulled her into his arms. At the moment when Li Muan's eyes widened, her face showing shame and anger, Wong Lin looked up at the 8 flying swords and the lecherous young man behind them. In that instant, the 8 flying swords twisted and exploded, while the young man, upon locking eyes with Wong Lin, felt his soul tremble. He spat blood, and terror surged in his eyes. His body was suddenly swept by an invisible force, and with a roar, he was torn apart in front of Wong Lin. Everything became silent in an instant. Li Muan stared at the scene in a daze, forgetting to struggle, held in Wong Lin's arms, gazing at him with a look of longing. Master, senior brother, you. After a long pause, Li Muan finally came to her senses. Her face instantly turned pale, and her gaze towards Wong Lin was filled with fear and timidity. Seeing Li Muan's gaze, Wong Lin's heart ached, and he gently let go of her hand. My name is Wong Lin, he murmured. Li Muan immediately took a step back, retreating several hundred feet before slowing down. She turned back, casting a deep, fearful glance at Wong Lin, then bowed to thank him before quickly turning and leaving. Watching Li Muan's clearly frightened figure, Wong Lin slowly smiled. Yet, beneath that smile lay bitterness and longing, feelings that no one else could see. In the distance, Grand Heavenly Venerable Xuan Luo silently observed all of this. At that moment, his heart too seemed to ache. He looked at Wong Lin, watched the smile on his face, and fell silent. What kind of longing and sorrow drives someone to seek happiness in a dream? Xuan Luo sighed softly. Wong Lin stood there, smiling, until Li Muan's figure disappeared. He slowly closed his eyes, and everything around him collapsed in silence. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in the immortal realm, on a mountain peak, looking at Li Muan, who was sleeping in a coffin. The sky was no longer blue but had turned into a night sky. In that night, a dreamlike full moon hung in the sky. 2 figures seemed to be slowly walking towards each other beneath it. One was a man, the other a woman, as it had been for 1,000 years. This night, the moon was bright, the stars few. This night, with Li Muan by his side, Wong Lin's heart was calm, no longer lonely. The wind blew, lifting Wong Lin's hair, while also blowing across the heavenly protection coffin, ruffling the black hair of the sleeping Li Muan inside. Softly, it danced through the air. Her hair inside the coffin curled along the walls as if trying to rise to meet the sky. But in the end, it lost strength and fell gently back down. As the moonlight grew stronger, Wong Lin saw a distant, aging figure on a mountain peak, bathed in blue light, accompanied by a woman. The woman was Li Qianmei. The father and daughter had apparently been there for some time, having witnessed Wong Lin's dream and the tears that had fallen onto Li Muan. When Wong Lin looked at them, the figures of the father and daughter turned, walking away into the moonlight, gradually disappearing into the distance. Yet, their backs carried a sense of loneliness, especially that of the woman. Wong Lin closed his eyes, not uttering a word. This night belonged to him and Li Muan, no one else. After a long while, the moonlight was scattered by the first rays of dawn, and the earth glowed with a light besides the moon's. At this moment, Wong Lin opened his eyes again, gazing at Li Muan inside the heavenly protection coffin, a single glance lasting 1,000 years. "Xun'er, wait for me," Wong Lin whispered. His right hand lifted gently and waved forward. The coffin dissolved into a faint glow before vanishing, carefully taken by Wong Lin. As he faced the sky, with the moon and sun rising together, he let out a deep breath. It's time to find the third soul. By now, the seven-colored Daoist, the war ghost, and the others must have found some clues. Wong Lin's gaze flickered as he murmured. In the starry sky beyond the immortal realm, just as Wong Lin had predicted, the four great generals had not given up on searching for the third soul after facing the dangers of the heavenly Tao. The four were now within the Cloud Sea Star domain, forming an array. Above their heads, a massive gourd emitted a vast amount of mist. The mist seemed to guide them, spreading out and writhing as it led the four forward. They passed through stretches of starry sky, floating continents, and within this cloud sea, they made their way towards Luotian. Behind them, the war ghost's expression was grim, silently following. The two sides seemed to maintain a balance, with neither intervening in the other's actions. After a long while, the mist from the gourd above the four generals suddenly increased. It exploded outwards with a roar, sweeping in all directions, forming a massive silhouette. This figure was no human but a fierce beast resembling a dog, though different. Its body was composed of mist. As it stood in the starry sky, it swung its head, sniffing the air as if searching for something. Moments later, the beast suddenly raised its head, its eyes glowing with fierce light. It leaped into the air, shooting forward. The four great generals immediately perked up, quickly following behind, while the war ghost's eyes gleamed with anticipation, stepping forward. The massive beast continued to sniff the air as it moved, finally stopping in front of an abandoned floating continent. It growled loudly towards the continent. The four great generals quickly closed the distance, entering the continent and spreading out their divine senses to cover the area, meticulously searching. The war ghost also stepped onto the continent, sweeping his divine sense across the land. But soon, his brow furrowed. This continent has long been abandoned, its surface now covered in ruins. It is evident that, long ago, this place once housed living beings, with many mortals residing here. But now, everything has vanished into the passage of time. The continent is devoid of any life. A desolate silence fills the air, with only a few fierce beasts dwelling here. The four great generals exchanged glances, and after a brief pause, they simultaneously made hand gestures. In an instant, a wave of destructive energy spread from their bodies, transforming into a storm that enveloped the entire continent. In a flash, amidst the chilling screams, the storm expanded and obliterated all life present on the land. After the destruction, wisps of smoke-like energy drifted from the continent, flowing into the large beast's mouth. After it absorbed the energy, the beast shook its head and flew off in the direction ahead. "Sigh, this place is not. Though it's not the right one, the fact that the immortal venerable, mist beast, stays here to devour, clearly indicates that the third soul of the immortal venerable once went through reincarnation here in the past. The more mist beast absorbs the reincarnation energy of the third soul, the better it can locate where the third soul resides. It has already devoured several times on this journey. It should be close now." The four generals exchanged glances before rising into the air, transforming into four rainbow-like streaks of light, and leaving the desolate continent. They followed the mist beast and gradually approached the edge of the Sea of Clouds, where the path to Luotian lay. War Ghost followed behind, eyes fixed on the mist beast, his gaze flickering. Looking at its behavior, could the third soul be in Luotian? I have spent the most time in Luotian. If it is indeed there, I wonder if the third soul will be a human or a beast. In another direction of the Luotian star domain lies Kungsu. Within Kungsu, a colorful radiance rolled like mist. Before the seven-colored mist, the rainbow Daoist furrowed his brow, his gaze fixed on a drop of crystal-clear blood in the palm of his hand. He had searched the entire Kungsu star domain, leaving no inch of starry sky, no cultivation star, or even a speck of dust unexamined. But in the end, he found no trace or clue within Kungsu. In silence, the rainbow Daoist lifted his head, a thoughtful expression in his eyes. He remembered that within the crack in the Sea of Clouds, he had seen in an illusion the third soul flying towards Kungsu. However, he could not determine whether it stayed in Kungsu or passed through. At the most crucial moment, his illusion was interrupted by Wong Lin, and he was forcibly pulled out. At this thought, the rainbow Daoist's expression darkened further, his hatred for Wong Lin deepening. Even without that illusion, with the bloodlines of all beings gathered from the many inner and outer world battles, I could still find the third soul. If it's not in Kungsu, then I'll go to Zhao River. I've searched all 4 great star domains. I don't believe the third soul can escape the cave mansion realm. The rainbow Daoist's face grew even darker as he set off toward Zhao River. As he traveled, he kept his eyes fixed on the blood in his hand. It had shown no change along the way, but the rainbow Daoist understood that this blood contained the bloodline of all beings. If it encountered the reincarnation of a being from the cave mansion realm, it would remain unchanged. But if it encountered the reincarnation of a being from outside the cave mansion realm, it would immediately emit a glaring red light. However, the range of this effect was small, and there was only this single drop left. It would require much time for the rainbow Daoist, but after waiting for countless eons, this small amount of time was nothing to him. Finally, the rainbow Daoist arrived at Zhao River, beginning his meticulous search. In this search, the third soul could not hide, and before long, the greatest secret of the cave mansion realm would be uncovered. Wong Lin was also searching for the third soul. Sitting cross-legged on a mountain peak, Wong Lin suddenly spread his divine sense. In an instant, it enveloped the immortal realm, and to the northwest, within a mountain valley, he found Qing Shui. Red Butterfly was also there, living peacefully with Qing Shui in the valley. At that moment, Qing Shui was smiling at Red Butterfly, pointing out some of her cultivation flaws. Red Butterfly, naturally gifted, grasped much from his words. A cultivator must focus on intention and heart. Everything is about the mind. And Qing Shui was speaking when his eyes suddenly narrowed, and he looked up at the sky outside the house. A complex expression flickered in his eyes. After a moment, he stood up. Xiao Dai, continue your cultivation. I need to handle some matters. With that, Qing Shui took a step forward, his figure transforming into a shadow and vanishing from the room. Red Butterfly looked at the direction where her father had disappeared, a trace of worry in her eyes. After a brief silence, she sighed and closed her eyes, beginning to meditate calmly. At the mountain peak where Wong Lin sat, ripples circulated. Qing Shui's figure materialized and walked out. Brother Qing Shui, assist me in finding a soul. Wong Lin stood and cupped his hands in greeting. Qing Shui was silent for a moment before walking over to Wong Lin's side. His expression was complex, and after a long pause, he spoke softly. You know my identity. Wong Lin looked at Qing Shui and nodded. Years ago, in the Rainbow Realm, you never asked me if I had found the answer. In fact, I did find it. I realized that I am merely a fragment of a soul. Forgive me for not telling you this. I couldn't bring myself to speak it, and I didn't want to admit it to myself. Qing Shui closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in front of Wong Lin. Go ahead, I don't know what method you'll use, but I'll do my best to help you. Qing Shui murmured. I only know that among the 7 souls, there is brother Qing Shui, but I can't guess who the other 6 are. But don't worry, brother. No matter what, I won't allow the 3 souls to merge and devour the 7 souls. Once I find the 3rd soul, I'll step in to destroy it, seal the soul. Wong Lin raised his right hand, pointing to his forehead. At once, the ghost face that had previously merged into his forehead appeared, rapidly expanding outward. It soon transformed into a massive ghost face, about several dozen meters in size, floating above the two of them. The ghost face was fierce and let out a silent roar as it charged toward Wong Lin and Shui, opening its mouth wide and, in an instant, devouring the two of them. At the moment they were swallowed, both Wong Lin and Shui heard a roaring sound in their minds, like thunder clashing. It swept their divine senses away, taking them back to the moment when the 3 souls and 7 souls of the Rainbow Immortal Venerable split apart in the ancient past. Search for the 3rd soul,